Okay, thank you for that. I thought it was interesting that the Public School Coalition recently did a survey of its members and found the top 3 issues for most educators across the state are school funding, school safety, and then teacher and support employee pay. We touched on the third one just a little bit. But as it relates to school funding, it would probably be no secret that almost every school district is having challenges in some areas with that. So at that statewide level and for your district specifically, what do you see as being the greatest threats for school funding, the greatest opportunities, and maybe changes that are going to have to be made, even if they might have to be painful in doing so?
I'd ask that one more time.
Right. So as it relates to school funding, what are some of the greatest opportunities right now? What are some of the greatest challenges or threats to school funding as it relates, first of all, to District 5, but then just in general across the whole state?
Okay, District 5. District 5 is a unique district. Primarily, District 5 is a rural district. Because it's a rural district, there's not a lot of economic income as far as industry goes. You don't, the different parishes don't get a lot of income as far as property tax goes. We do have some larger cities which actually benefit from industry, property tax, etc. Primarily, most of the parishes are rural, so that is a big issue. Now, right now, your main source of income for any parish is your MFP dollars. MFP funding is a very complicated funding. If you look at this is called the MFP 101. It's pages and pages. You've got to be an expert accountant to figure out how you're going to get what amount of money is going to go for each child in your parish. I think that needs to be cleaned up and simplified. But as far as the challenges, I don't know that there are challenges other than the state and legislature coming forward and giving some more dollars to our public education.
When I think about this, I think about transparency. I know there's money out there. I know that, we're spending more every year on students. We're probably spending the most or some of the highest expenses on students per year, but we're not seeing the results. And why is that? If you were investing in something and you weren't getting the results from that investment, what would you do about it? You would evaluate it. So either, we're spending money on the wrong things. Maybe some of that money, and I'm back to my teacher pay, needs to be spent on the most important person. And the most important person in a school is the teacher. We know that a teacher, one good teacher, affects the next 3 years of a student's life. We know one bad teacher also takes them back for about 3 years. And so if we know what's affecting the most change in a school, why are we not building that into our budgets? As far as transparency, I would rather have staff than stuff.
Okay.
Can I follow up on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. If you'll look at the state budget for the Louisiana Department of Education, it's over $8 billion. Of that $8 billion, 80-something% is salaries. That leaves, 20 to 15%. But that's still a lot of money. You're probably still looking at over $1 billion, maybe $1.5 billion. We do need to look at contracts the Department of Education is putting out. Some of these contracts are for millions of dollars. And we need to evaluate those contracts, see if they are truly services that we need, and then, as Ashley says, be transparent, make the cuts, and that way we will free up dollars for either MFP, which then the district could use to flow through to teacher pay raises.
Dr. Chapman, you said it's going to come down to more dollars. But where do those dollars come from? Because we're in a kind of an environment right now where we've seen a lot of tax increases the last few years. Some people are fine with that, some not so much. But that's what it always seems to come down to. What else can be done to meet that possibility that you're talking about, more dollars?
Now, we're talking about MFP dollars. MFP dollars are allocated by the state legislature.
Mm-hmm. Right. I got you, but how do those dollars continue to increase? I mean, ultimately, it'll come from taxpayers or taxing of other entities, businesses, or whatnot.
You're asking whether advocating for increased taxes?
No, I'm just asking where do you think more dollars will come from?
I have no clue.
I do think that's the burning question. We don't know, and that's why not a lot has been done. I will say this, I'm back to, there's money, I've looked at budgets. There's places that we can fix things, there's places we can make cuts. We all know as educators, there's that rush to buy things moment every year, and to me that makes no sense. There's gotta be a place that we can find more money for our educators, and even if that means, superintendents being more transparent with their budgets and what they're doing with some of that money. I know that we talk about that through the school board, and there are financials that are disclosed, but there's probably things that we're not looking at, that we're not seeing.
Okay. Let's take the second issue that members identified, school safety. And we've heard a lot about this in recent years, especially when we talk about some of the school shootings that we've had. Here in Rapides Parish, we do have school resource officers that was made possible in part through a sales tax that was passed 15 years ago or so here in Rapides Parish, that the sheriff's office can put those officers in every school. Give me kind of your general feeling as someone who's been in the schools, your overall concerns about school safety and what you think can ultimately be done about it.
We got an SRO officer in my high school last year. They found the money in the budget to give us a school resource officer. When we need stuff, they usually find it. I have felt much safer having an SRO officer in my building. But there was a question posed to me the other day that talked about having child psychologists on our campuses. And I don't know about you all, but what we're experiencing in schools is concerning, because we see students that have true emotional needs. It was proposed that we partner with some groups and we bring some people in. And I think that, are we preventing or are we protecting? And sometimes we have to make some hard decisions. I think we need to do a little bit of both. Some small things that I did in my district or in my school is I said, I want the police in my building doing all their practice active shooter runs. I think that's a big deal. They know where everything is in my building. A lot of schools aren't doing that. Having one school resource officer does make us feel safer, but it doesn't fix the underlying problem, is that there are some severe emotional issues in our students, and we don't have the staff to handle that. And we need professionals to work with our students. And how do we partner with those professionals? There's some districts, I'm not sure, I can't remember which district, but one of our services in Monroe mentioned that there's a group that's coming into a school district and they are providing a child psychologist. And they've worked out the financials and how that all works. And they've made that change, and it didn't cost the district anything. We need to be doing things. We need to be more creative. If we don't have the money, then how do we get the supports? And how do we partner with other private, public partnerships to make this happen?
The primary goal of school safety is to make the facility safe. Rapides Parish does have school-based resource officers. But you also have to have a facility that is safe with either security cameras, fencing, single entry. To be honest, if we look around Rapides Parish, we've got so many schools that have different type of floor plans and multiple entries. And some have rural campuses have bigger open campuses. Inner city schools have smaller campuses. So everybody's different, everybody's unique, and you've got to have a security plan in place, a security overall plan as far as facility upgrades, and unfortunately that costs dollars. It costs dollars. And so you've got to figure out some way that you're going to make this happen. And basically it's going to fall back on the people in the city, property tax, some kind of tax on the homeowners and the people in the city to make these type of things happen. But the safety of our children is the most important.
Anything else you want to add to that?
No,
Okay.
no, I agree.
Sure. Okay. Let me just ask you this. We're talking a lot about what isn't done, what hasn't been done, what could be done, but what do you both see BESE as doing well, and what could be done to enhance some of those areas that you might see?
I've been very, very happy to see what we're doing in early childhood education. I was reading some statistics the other day talking about 90% of a 5-year-old's brain is formed by the time they're 5. And if we're not offering and planning, again, some way to get early childhood access, quality early childhood access for all of our students across our state, our Earth to 5, then we're probably missing out. I will tell you a quick story. I don't want to get too in the weeds, but we adopted a little girl who was in foster care, and her birth to 18-month experience was traumatic. And so I know there are students out there that are going through some pretty tough things. And I've also worked in the retail world. I ran a Target in Monroe, worst thing I ever did. I mean, I love Target. I want to shop there, but I don't want to work. I learned very quickly that one of the reasons that a lot of my workers couldn't be at work on time or attend work regularly is because they didn't have quality childcare for their children. It's a big deal. So the parents are having to make a decision. Do I go to work or do I stay home and take care of my child? Because I have no one to do this for me, and I have no quality childcare options. I think another thing that we're doing well is I like what we're doing with our new pathways. We're doing Jumpstart. I don't know if you're familiar with Jumpstart. It's had some negative feedback from some communities, unfortunately. But what I do think we were doing wrong in the past is we told every child the only way to be successful was to go to college and get a 4-year degree. And I just don't believe that. I think, my husband, who's here, right there, he went to college, did a little bit in college, and then decided he wanted to, join the military. That's not a bad option. He became an entrepreneur and opened his own business. We're doing classes in our high schools that talk about entrepreneurship. We're doing, manufacturing classes. We're trying to build these programs so that we can take our students and if that's what they want to do, they can work and walk right into some pretty amazing jobs. Are they all high wage, high demand? No, but we're just getting started. I think that we have to start somewhere, and we're going to grow this program. The hard part there is changing our perception of what college is. I think a 2-year plus a 2-year junior college is a no-go for some parents, and I don't understand that. I think we need to open that conversation and dialogue up and let people start hearing what's actually being offered at those universities, and quit telling our students don't sell yourself short. Another thing that I think the state's doing really well is Believe and Prepare, and I'm not sure, this is a teacher preparation program. So when I was a student teacher, I got 6 weeks in the classroom, 6 weeks. I spent 3 weeks at one school, 6 weeks at one school and so I got 12 weeks at a junior high and another, so many weeks at an elementary school. And that let me just say, did not prepare me for my first year of teaching. Did not prepare me. I think what we're doing now is we're creating a residency program. So as our college students, come to us and they would be doing their student teaching year, they have a full year residency. So they start with that teacher at the beginning of the school year, and they stay with that one teacher mentor till the last day of school. And I have a quick story. I'm a storyteller. I'm a teacher. But I had a new teacher this year who, it was her first year. She was in our district. She was in my building as a resident. And her first year of teaching is like most first years. It's pretty hard. It's a scary job. Most teachers want to quit. And then by the third year, they finally go, okay, I got this, So she's still in her first year. So I'm walking her through all the struggles that I know she's about to hit. And she's seen it the year before, and she still is surprised by it. And in March, she brings me her resignation. She's ready. She's done. She's going to go back to school. She's going to do something else. And I said, one, you don't make any decisions as an educator in March. That's the worst idea ever. But two, wait. Just wait. Let's think about this. And she was adamant. After testing, our students had tested, and her weakest students, her absolute worst class, as she put it, those students came running down the hall to tell her that was the first time they had ever passed a LEAP exam. And I'm going to tell you, that's a big deal. That was the moment for her. She said, oh, this is what this is about. And we have to foster that. So building programs, even with all of the work she had, she still struggled that first year. Can you imagine the teachers who had 6 weeks? So I do think what we're doing in the residency program is really great. I'm a positive person, so I'm always going to take my circle of control. I'm going to work within that circle of control. And I think that what we're doing in education, certainly we have some things we need to fix, but there are some things that we're doing well. And I think that as we move forward, part of what BESE and what I would like to bring to BESE is bringing people together around that idea that we can do this. Our students can do this. Our students are just as smart as everybody else's students, but we need to figure out what's keeping us from moving forward. But we also need to celebrate our wins. And there are a lot of wins.
There's really not a whole lot I can add to what Ashley just said, because those are the positive things that are coming from the Department of Education. Early childhood education, and our college readiness and our career readiness, CTE programs. We're doing that in Matthews Parish. We're promoting those, we're pressed on. Someone asked me probably 3 or 4 weeks ago my evaluation of a current state superintendent. And I said, I'm not. I said, but if you're going to judge his performance on what we're doing in Matthews Parish, I've got to tell you he's doing a good job. And I said, because we're putting those programs in place, we're promoting those programs, and we feel comfortable with those programs. I can't add a whole lot more than what Ashley did on that.
Okay. I'll go back to something we hit on a little bit already, but a little more targeted here. So this past session, the legislature did pass the BESE proposed MFP that increased funding and teacher pay, but Louisiana still is significantly under the Southern regional average for teacher compensation. How would you propose to move forward in terms of educator compensation and school funding?
I think we've talked about this one a lot. I think we know that we have issues. I don't think we found the pot of money, the magic, pot of money at the end of the rainbow. But I think we should all recognize that it is probably one of the first things we need to address. I've had people talk to me about, Common Core standards and the curriculum and doing away with where we are because they don't like the standards or they don't like the curriculum and so on. But I ask this question, how much will that cost? And how much time will that take? I think we're in a place where we can move forward and we don't need to be spending money on something that we've established. Maybe we need to tweak, maybe we need to fix some things, but I think that we need to move forward and figure out this problem first. If we can, if we can truly market our profession to college students and especially high schoolers, I think that we're winning. I will say this, I have an Educator Rising program at Neville. This is a new pilot across the state where we're actually teaching a college level Ed Foundations class at the high school level. So exciting. I'm an educator. I'm like, who wants to be in the teacher class? I mentioned this earlier. Nobody comes. So then I just had to go find kids. I had to go, you're the kind of person who fits in this box. You need to come. And so we have a class of 7 students. And what I'm excited about is we're really showing them our craft. And maybe they don't become teachers. Maybe they change their minds. Maybe they look at the pay. Maybe we fix it before they get there. I don't know. But we're certainly showing them how special our craft is and what hard work we do and how you can change lives. There was a student who said, but I wanted to be a physical therapist and because I could change lives. And if you watch the video of him talking, he says, but now I realize I can do that as a teacher. That's huge. This is the conversation and the stuff we need to be doing in our schools and across our state to bring pride back to the profession.
There's no bucket of gold at the end of the rainbow. So we can't go just searching for something that's not there. Well, the only thing we can do is take the state budget, make sure that the teachers are fully funded, look at what the additional funds are, eliminate the waste, eliminate the unnecessary contracts, and then we'll have some additional money that we can use to do whatever we think is best.
Question I kind of have myself is, having been here for about 20 years and seeing one of the major challenges to try to bring business and industry here, sometimes you'll hear cited would be sort of the workforce isn't here for like a major industry. So, it's kind of like a chicken and an egg scenario. Do you train them first before they come, or do they come and then maybe train them? How much do you think BESE should set a tone for working with existing business and industry and also viewing more the future to bring in those businesses or industries which could help in that tax base and help maybe bring in some more of that revenue that could help fund those districts?
I think we already have programs in place with your career readiness, career technical education programs. So all we need to do is promote those and to enhance those programs.
I go back to the private-public partnerships. I really think that we can do more to educate our community about what we're offering in our schools and how we can partner with them to provide students that will fit the needs they have. I know graphic packaging is in Monroe, and one of the programs we're working towards is they have partnered with Delta Community College, and they're saying, look, we want a pipeline of kids. Any kids that want to go into manufacturing, we would love for them to come to us. We want them to come see our campus, and we're going to provide everything they need to walk into a graphic packaging job, which will pay potentially, and I think the average was $50,000. I mean, I don't want my teachers to go because they might leave. So, I'm really passionate about the career tech ed side of what we're doing at the high school level, because I see students coming alive again, students who maybe aren't the best academic students, but they're hard workers and they want to be proud of the work they're doing. And I think we have to address that. Now, how do we partner better? I think that's just having a liaison at district level who then partners with businesses in the community, pulling your chamber of commerce in so that they know what's going on. I'll tell you, nobody's talking. People aren't talking, and they're not talking the same talk. I will say, as the principal, as an assistant principal, I don't have a whole lot of time to leave my building, but I need people to be doing that for us. I need people to be having those conversations and then pulling us as administrators in, because they can talk about it all day, but who's doing it? We are. And so I need to be in the know. I need to know what's happening in our community. But at the end of the day, those conversations aren't happening as well as they could be.
All right, well, my list is pretty well exhausted, and you guys answered a lot of great questions.